first of all, there's the ego trip of why did I use 7? My my hero, the one person that had the greatest impact from a book version on my life was Stephen Covey when he did the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I still think it's a total standalone book, and I would recommend it to anyone. By the way, it's still one of the highest sellers through Amazon, which is interesting. But I chose 7. Well, we talked an awful lot, and we started trying to analyze where they looped together, where they worked. And in the book, there is a model. I can show you a picture, but probably it won't come up as well as it should. So what I'd like to do is, if you can imagine, first of all, a circle, and in the center of the circle, what does a company expect? Well, the company expects you to get results and agreed outcomes. I think we'd all agree that's what, in the world we live, companies are driven by outcomes and success. And in the workplace, what do we expect to be working with in terms of our teams or our business areas? We're looking for people who we trust, that we align with, that we can communicate well with, that we respect. And what we're looking for is, how do we actually, if you like, walk the talk? I'm not talking about trying to turn all of the team into clones, but I am saying we need to have a high level of trust and a high level of empathy between each of us, know our strengths, know our weaknesses, know where we fit in. So if I go through the 7 habits, the very first one is know yourself. And you'll see, Bob, as I go through them, they fit into any of the 4 that we're going through. So what do I mean by know yourself? And this was between myself and 2 other colleagues. A good Scotsman that's been out here. In fact, I played rugby with him way back when I lived in the Highlands of Scotland. And he's a Scot. I've lost my accent, but he was very much the Scottish. He's a solicitor as well as being a trainer and a coach. Magnificent guy. And the other was an HR manager who's now become one of my coaching buddies, and we do a lot of training together. And she at the time was an HR manager for this big corporation. And she was insightful. And she was younger than both Colin and myself. So it helped to have somebody to pull us back from being too academic. But we ended up coming up with confident leaders apply their strengths judiciously and work on their personal growth and development. They appreciate the value of lifelong learning and self-discovery. Okay? You may know yourself when you're 30. I can promise you by the time you reach 40, you won't be where you were. You won't even think the same way as you did when you were 30. The next one was emotional resilience. So I've moved away from emotional intelligence. I've gone to emotional resilience. Resilient leaders are aware and in control of their emotions and have the ability to adapt to stressful situations or crises. They overcome adversity without lasting issues. Okay. The next is empathetic relationships. Empathetic leaders have the ability to recognize, understand, and share the thoughts and feelings of another person. They acknowledge the story without judgment. By the way, just going back to that chemistry check, the most important thing in a chemistry check when you're seeing if you can coach somebody else is to stay out of judgment. Okay, the next one is vision and values. Visionary leaders appreciate that while values make a contribution, vision is future focused and about developing clarity and purpose around their goals. Now, what I'd like just to follow that up, because it sounds very highfalutin and very corporate, what I really mean there is, can somebody at a team leading position convert what the boss wants to what the guys are going to deliver on a day-to-day basis during a toolbox talk? Of course they can. That's what I mean by vision and values. Turn it into, what do we need to achieve today, and what's my expectations that's reasonable of your input into creating that. The next one of the core characteristics is effective communication. Effective leaders understand the power of words and their ability to inspire, support, reassure, and direct their people. They communicate with clarity of purpose. There's no hidden agendas. There's no double meanings. The next one is motivation and teamwork. Motivational leaders create a working environment where empowerment and active encouragement build teamwork. They show trust and courage while walking the talk. There's two more to go. The next one is the two? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, this is the last one.
Yeah,
Trust in your leadership. Appreciate yourself, exhibit your values, walk your talk, and trust in your worth. And finally, trustworthy leaders work with their people to establish believability, dependability, and reliability through open and transparent behavior that lacks self-interest.
So some really core principles there for what makes for an effective leader, drawn from all this other work you've been doing. That's fascinating.